Hi everyone, it's Roger here and Abe from over in Los Angeles, and we are here with the Infinity and Beyond presented by Vinylmation Kingdom Webcast. This is episode number 9, and it's going to be a big episode because I was able to get to Disney Infinity 2.0 a few days ago, and we've also got a few other bits and pieces to cover as well. So I'd just like to say hi and let Abe come in here as well.
How's it going, everybody? It's Abe in LA. Still waiting for my Infinity. I got to touch it on what was it, on Saturday? Or no, not Saturday. It was on Friday because there was a Best Buy glitch. Ooh. And they brought it out. I got to touch it, get ready to take it, and unfortunately they said, sorry, we messed up. We got to take it back. So
yeah, I heard about that problem with lots of people. I mean, that's just so cruel.
Yeah, it sucked, but, you know, I already was expecting the 23rd. I was just taking advantage of an error, but...
Well, I would have done the same. You know, if I'd got that email like Wednesday last week, I would have been down the shop so quickly.
Yeah, but anyways, I'm ready. I can't wait, and all the good things I've been hearing about it so far is awesome. So
that's cool. Well, we've got a few things here to talk about before I go into that. So last week, Abe announced that he was going to be giving away a GameStop Green Hulk game capsule disc. So I think we will do that as we're going to announce the winner at the end of the show for that one. Yep. He's going to give that one away. And also, if you haven't also done so, I am giving away a $25 DisneyStore.com voucher on the YouTube channel. You just have to find the video or find the story on Vinylmation Kingdom, subscribe to the channel, and comment on that video. But it's simple as that. So that will be running for about another week and a half. Decided to give it a little bit longer for people to be able to get in on that one. But anyway, so those are the two competitions. So Abe will be giving away that lovely green capsule later today, which does look rather cool.
Yeah, that's the advantage I got out here instead of getting the game early.
Yeah, you can sit there and look at some power discs in the box.
Exactly.
Right, okay, so here's a few things that we found out since last week. So I'm going to bring up some images here first off of the Falcon and also the Marvel team-up Captain Marvel disc.
Captain Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, and the Ultimate Falcon. And Jericho was able to send us over these from Denmark. Sorry, not Denmark, from the Netherlands. So you'll be angry if I said that. So yeah, he's come over from the Netherlands. They got the game even a couple of days earlier before the UK, and so you're going to have these two power discs. So you've got the Ultimate Falcon, which is his costume from the Captain America Winter Soldier movie, and you have a team-up disc with Captain Marvel, so you can basically she'll just jump in. And these are going to be announced later for 2015. We don't really know much about them at the minute, but they're just discs 41 and 42.
So are they basically, the pictures that he provided, were they just an announcement, or did they...
No, this, I mean, I found them as well once I got the game. You can basically go in and you can see all the power discs, like you could before in your collection, and you can see those two, a bit like those two Aladdin ones we knew about. So yeah, they're in there. So I'm expecting a toy box pack with Yondu and Falcon with those two power discs next year.
And I was going to say, now we see that the Toys R Us album with the 21 discs doesn't seem too weird after all.
Well, actually, no, it still makes no sense because there's going to be 2 discs too many.
Well, no, how is that possible?
Well, you'd need four albums, wouldn't you? Yeah, my math isn't working out this morning. 21 and 21 is 40.
Yeah, I know I did good in school with math, but
yeah, I'm blaming on the fact I only woke up about half an hour ago, so there we go.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so those two power discs are coming out. A bit of a sort of surprise power disc again. That might explain why we kept seeing Captain Marvel as kind of a character. Yeah, so those are 2 new power discs. It'd be quite cool to get Falcon as his Winter Soldier outfit, because to be honest, that was where I first saw him. I'd never really heard of the guy before until I saw the movie.
And you think those 2 discs would be packaged in, you said in like a dual pack with Falcon and Yondu?
Yeah, well, I can't really think of any other way that they're going to sort of sell two discs on their own without putting them like that. and it would
Because
make.
it sounds interesting. Because you'll have the team up for Falcon with Falcon, and then you have.
Well, it's not a team up for Falcon; it's a costume change.
Oh, it's a costume.
Yes, makes him look like he'd look like in the movie. It's the captain.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a team up. Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me after what Yondu did, but yeah, no. So
yeah.
but yeah, so it's a bit of a different kind of power disc. I personally think that I still haven't really kind of been using those team up discs a lot. I've got them all, but they take a while to charge up, and I keep forgetting that I've got them. To be honest, I've been kind of so distracted with what I'm doing. I haven't really quite got into doing that yet.
I kind of got used to them on the demos that I tried out at the events, so I'm kind of looking forward to them.
Yeah, I mean, other than to be honest, I rarely ever use the discs from the first game, even though I have them all. I just don't really use them very often. I sort of forget all about them.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so we had some other bits and pieces of news that's come through. Overnight, we had, I think, JV put out a tweet saying that those 2 unannounced Disney characters are from the same franchise. And that's pretty much all we know.
Interesting.
It's kind of quite interesting as well how they look like they've actually managed to lock them away, so you can't find them. Unlike Yondu and Falcon, which are there for me to see on the new game, these 2 unannounced Disney characters, they look like they're locked.
Yeah. You know what, Roger? I know there was another site that did something like this, but I ended up, I think a couple hours before we started this, I went back and I saw this video that somebody posted that shows the new, when you go to the store,
oh yeah,
you
that
put
one,
the
yeah.
figure up and it shows you the display, and then it tells you all these. Well, people said there was a little hint of the possible 2 figures in there. So I went back and watched all the trailer videos, and you know how the names come up, like it says, get ready to be brave, powerful, magic, all that stuff. And I tied a bunch of the characters together, and the 4 that I did not see at all were the descriptions were tricky, trickster, which was kind of repetitive, and then I saw madman and spy. So that kind of somehow threw me off as far as thinking maybe it's not Milan, but even though it is a female character, as far as one of them goes.
Yeah.
But it just threw me off big time. I mean, Madman, I can't even think of a Madman, or at least I'm not thinking straight right now.
Does that not link into, like, Loki?
Yeah, but this is supposed to be the 2 characters we don't know about on the Disney side, so it can't be Loki. No,
Madman, yeah.
Yeah,
like Alice in Wonderland? No, he's not a spy.
Oh, Alice in Wonderland, Mad Hatter, he's technically a madman. That actually makes sense.
But I don't know, the spy's throwing me off.
Yeah, maybe that's something that I missed, or I don't know. I just looked at them, and I even added the extra descriptions like Mischief, SD, Q, all those other names. But those are the only ones I could not really tie together with that display video that they had. So
yeah, no,
but
yeah,
Mad Hatter's a good. That's actually pretty good, and Alice it would be kind of cool to play with too. So
yeah,
cool.
be a slightly different idea. Okay, so those there again, we're still kind of in the unannounced territory on them. I actually think this is really cool that they've managed to do this, and if they can pull this off, I think this is what we're going to see a lot more in the future games.
I hope so too.
It'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think so too. And then obviously, even though we all like leaks and spoilers, and it kind of does add a little bit more, like, sitting at the edge of your seat, suspense, like, I can't wait to find out. So.
I think until they get I think ideally they would want to get the DLC sorted so they can just add patches later, and then they don't have to worry about it. But, this could be the way. And also, the other bit of news that we've had this week was basically that, well, I was just going to bring up this image here first off. This was a picture that, not so much news, but Travis sent us, which showed his Stitch with his kitten fist. They're not. He's just showing off the fact that he's got Stitch early because he managed to get the game early in the US.
Yeah, he was one of the few people that were able to get him earlier, but he got it at an event in New York, and it was specially given out to him and a couple of. Actually, I think one more person. So that's how he.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're going to have some, maybe some bits and pieces, some footage or some kind of pictures and stuff later on the site.
Yeah, I believe so. We will have some video. It looks pretty cool. I mean, Stitch moves very, very well. So it's
I'm
awesome.
really looking forward to seeing the actual climbing, because
Oh, the wall crawl, yeah.
I
So
put Venom on the other night, and when he started wall crawling, I just literally just was like, this just looks incredible.
oh no, yeah, it's this. I remember trying him out. Where was it? At Comic-Con, and when he does the wall crawl, it's so bug-like. It's so cool. It's very true to his character, so it's awesome.
Yeah, the wall crawl does seem really cool. So we also found out this week. I myself tried this out, and Travis confirmed it overnight. Basically, you've got the magic bands, which are the new bands that you get on at Walt Disney World. And on the first game, when you put them down, they unlocked the Dragon's Gate. Well, on this one, when you put it down, you open up the small world facade, or facade, I don't know quite how.
Yeah, it's the facade, I believe.
Yeah, so there we go. So I wasn't able to quite get the video for it, but we'll be putting up a video on that on the YouTube channel late in the next couple of days.
Yeah, it's very awesome. It animates, it moves.
Yeah, you press the button on it, and basically these like toy soldiers come out, and they start. They don't actually do the proper song though, which I was disappointed of.
Yeah, not the proper song, but I think they needed to make the facade longer for the proper song to work, because then you would have to have all the children from around the world coming out.
Yeah.
But I did like
you can make that as a toy box, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. No, but I was going to say that kind of does stay true, though, the sounds and everything.
Yeah.
That stays true, too, whenever I'm in Disneyland, and whenever the clock strikes, a quarter, half, or three-quarters, the soldiers come out and they play the trumpets and everything. So that's pretty accurate.
I was actually quite surprised to see that was the unlock, because I think it was at Sandy at the Comic-Con. They had this huge big display of it.
Oh no, it was at E3. Actually.
E3, and it was just like, well, that seems to be an odd choice.
I was gonna say all they had was the actual clock face that tilts with every click, and I thought it would be like something you can unlock as a toy. I don't know if it because you already have the game, and I know the power discs give you like the theming or whatnot. I don't know if there's a different facade that's available to everybody, and then maybe this one's exclusive.
Because
there's
going to be the terrain and the Sky Dome in the Disney set for the It's a Small World.
There was no toys at all that you saw. I
couldn't see anything. No, just that one that I unlocked when I popped the magic band down.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it still looks cool, and for anybody who also, now that you're talking about the magic band, I know I'm going a little bit off of our topic list here, but isn't a Dragon's Gate now available without magic band?
You can now go in, and I had a look through them, and I could see the magic gate as just a normal toy, and I think again Arjan in the Netherlands saw that it was on there, and I don't know if he'd actually unlocked it on the first game, because I wasn't too sure if it was linked to my account, or when I put the magic band down it had unlocked, because sometimes you never even knew on the first game when you put it down. But
so it's not 100% clear yet.
It doesn't look like, it looks like it's complete. It's open there, I think, because Arjan did it. I think again because my account was linked, I wasn't 100% sure.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, we might have to ask somebody who hasn't used the magic band yet to see if they have it on the 2.0, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Is the game now is we're literally probably 48 hours or less from the US release, and then that's pretty much going to be the big release in terms.
Technically 24 hours, because I believe some Toys R Us are now doing midnight events, so that's going to be awesome.
I mean, it will be great when sort of everyone, especially on like the Infinity and Beyond boards, have got it, so everyone can just talk and sort of get into it. It's been rather cool for me to have a few days access, so I've been able to sort of get videos up and sort of try and help, especially the guys, a lot of the people asking questions, and I mean I've done a few like Twitch streams as well. A couple of nights of just people just asking questions, dropping in, and just asking me to do stuff. So I've been doing that a couple of times as well the last few nights.
That's great. That's great. I mean, to help the whole group.
Well, and also it's that, especially like when I sort of got into the game, a lot of it as well is I'm just going in to see what there is and poking around and sort of. So when people are asking a question, it kind of gives you, by the time you go through the Hall of Heroes, the Hall of Superheroes, and just the interiors and just seeing how everything works, it's amazing how your time can just sort of disappear so quickly.
Awesome. Well, obviously, you know, because you did get them earlier in the UK and a lot of other countries, I do have to ask. So tell us about the collector's edition. That's something that
Right.
everybody wants.
Okay. So first off, I went into the store. I was at the game at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was there. I left the house. It was pouring with rain. So I got to the store, and this box looked huge. I mean, it had to be about 3 foot long. It just seemed huge. Even the guy selling it to me said, "I hope you brought your cutter," because there was no way. I had to carry it over my shoulder like this out of the store. So got it at home, opened it up. So inside I had the normal PlayStation 4 starter pack. There is an actual unboxing video up on the YouTube channel as well.
That's correct.
So you can see.
Yeah.
So you get the PS4 starter pack. So this is just the same as what you'd have done if you just picked it off the shelf. And you also get Captain America, Hulk, and Hawkeye. So Hulk is exclusive to this for 30 days. And I have got to say quickly, Hulk is the best character in it. I
knew it.
I put him on, and I am not kidding. I can't really seem to be using the other characters. It's just fantastic. But anyway, so we'll go off that. So, and also they all just come out, and they're just like you would find off the shelf. So there's nothing particularly special or different about them. They're not packaged any way different. So that's why it takes up a little bit more space in the box.
Now, as far as availability goes, were there a lot of collector's editions available on the shelf? Or
in my store, they only had 2 in, and they were both pre-ordered. So one had my name actually written on the side of the box. So it was. So I'm not being funny. Having looked at the size of this is something I think people had to pre-order because I can't see shops keeping it on the shelf because it's just too big. Though I think Game and a few other retailers have sold out online in the UK. But you might be lucky if you get in quick. But there is another side to this, and that is that huge sort of diorama thing.
Yeah.
If you are getting it, remember you need to pick up 4 C batteries for it to work.
Good. You actually just said what I was about to ask you. That's awesome.
I didn't even think it because not being funny, but having spent like 120, 130 pound on this huge, great big pack. It's like, well, they didn't put batteries in. Must admit, I was like a kid on Christmas morning where I looked around in my battery drawer and I found 2, but I needed another. And I was just like, I was a bit of a disappointed child on Christmas morning when I realised they didn't have the batteries from the toy. Yeah, I just learned a major lesson for the future, notes.
Oh no, yeah, I just had to ask because ever since I found out it was lit, I just wanted to make sure.
Well, the thing is this thing, I am not kidding, it is huge. It must be
very, very massive, yeah.
To be honest, I was completely shocked at the size of it, and it must be, it's a good this tall. It's absolutely enormous. And I pulled it out the box, and my wife just looked at it and said, that thing looks hideous. It looks like an ugly monkey. It's not staying. So it's now gone back in a box, and it's under the bed because she hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Really?
Yeah, she couldn't stand. I had it out on the coffee table for about a day before I had to put it away. She said it scared her, and and I put up a picture on my Facebook account, and like all my mum and my aunties and all her friends were like, that thing is hideous, and they all agree. So it's I've just basically got this great big lump underneath the bed now, just like I'm not quite too sure yet. I will warn anybody that is getting it. It's so big. It's too big, and it's quite a rare thing. But I think you're going to have to be really diehard to have.
And then this frost giant is apparently so realistic that it'll scare actual people. So be prepared.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to put up a picture here of my haul there. As you can see, so there we go. So that was the starter pack of everything there included in it. And it is just absolutely huge. And it looks really cool, and I'm really, really happy with it. However, it really should have been about half the size. I did actually put up a picture, but I forgot to put it on here, where I actually set up all of my Disney characters facing it, all of my Infinity characters, and I had all like, 60 of them on the table. It took up so much space.
No, yeah, I'm honestly a big fan of it. When I saw it in person in Comic-Con, even with Loki right next to it, it looks awesome. But yeah, you are right. It is definitely massive.
I think it's just, I think because I'd only had seen it on pictures, so having
Yeah.
when it actually
Pictures
had
don't do it justice.
it doesn't do it justice, and the size of it is just awesome. And I'm really glad I've got it because I don't think they're going to be around too long.
I don't either. Yeah.
I think they did it. I think they should have maybe come out with a limited edition number and just kind of said, you know, this is limited edition 20,000 or whatever it is. And
You know, it probably is, to be honest, because I don't see everybody spending, you know, that much for it anyways, you know. I mean, eventually, for the diehards or the people who end up joining this because of Marvel or even 3.0, they're going to be like, oh, I wish I had it. So eventually, it'll definitely become that nice collector's value piece.
I'm hoping. I mean, I've decided it's that thing of. My wife was like, "Why don't you just sell it? It's just going to sit under the cupboard." I was like, "No, I don't want to sell it. I want to keep it."
Yeah. Sure,
but even,
yeah.
I mean, the box that it come in, literally, I'll just put up the picture again. I've got nowhere to store it. It's going in the bin. That box. It just there's nowhere for it to go.
I was going to recommend that you put up like a shelf on a plain wall and then display your figures, and then whenever your wife's home, just put a little like handkerchief on top of the box.
Well, the thing is, again, I've got these two huge cabinets full of Vinylmation, so I'm pretty much. I've got my two big toy boxes next to my seat on the thing behind the sofa where all the figures go, because I've also got a big box of Skylanders under there as well. So behind the sofa is full of my toys.
I think it's time to move.
Yes, yeah, no, it's that kind of thing as well. It's so easy to run out of space for all these figures.
Yeah.
Well,
that's great though. The collector's edition sounds awesome.
It is really cool, and I think the whole package was a great idea. And I think they should definitely do this kind of thing a little bit more often. Maybe not so big. And I'm going to be honest. I was lucky enough I picked the PlayStation 4. I would have been very annoyed if they'd gone Xbox route instead. So I think they should maybe have gone out and made it to everybody on all the consoles, but maybe kept the limited numbers down, so it kind of made a little bit of a jump for it, because I think it probably would have done well, but it's a bit of a disappointment.
Maybe they purposely made them that big and ugly so people will have to sell them, and the Xbox people will be happy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ugly though. I love it.
I must admit, I think it's cool. I don't, but then there's that thing as well of knowing what the Frost Giant is and what it represents. It makes sense.
It's not just seeing. I mean, obviously that's going to catch your eye, but it's also to see. Hey, you have 6 Avengers just going at it right to. It's
a very cool piece, because I set up. I actually because on the day I took the game. Or picked up the game, I took my PlayStation 3 and a load of other bits and pieces into trade to basically connect. And I said, well, look, there's a nice space there where the PlayStation 3 was. No, it's not. It wasn't happening.
Nice try.
I tried. But anyway, as we said, having got the game, we're just going to do a little bit of just discussing the game of how I've got on with it, because we're not going to go into it. Again, it's a nice, easy episode. We haven't had a huge amount of news because pretty much everything's just been coming out of Europe and Australia about us being able to have the game and get our hands on it. So I'm going to let Abe ask questions.
Excellent. That's exactly what I was going to tell you. All right, so let's just go through the playsets. Let's start off with actually, no, scratch that. Let's start off with the intro. The intro, because obviously you had. When I attended D23 in 2013, when they introduced Disney Infinity, well, not introduced it, but really, announced the last figures, they showed us the intro to the whole game, where you get to play it and everything.
Yeah.
Well, they made a version for 2.0. So, what are your impressions on that? Obviously, they hinted it before, but
yeah, I did watch it on the Toy Box Summit, but. So this is a tip to anyone that is going to play it. When you get the game and you put your game disc in, don't put the Avengers playset on the game. Just go straight into the toy box and you'll see it first. Apparently, someone put the Avengers on and it you kind of skip it. But you can actually go in off the menu and play. It's a Disney treasure hunt. If you go in and press that, you can watch it at any time and play through it again. So if you did miss it or want to do it again, so just say that first off. I watched it. My wife was sat here watching it as well when we plugged it in. I thought it was fantastic. It reminded me a bit of the parks. My wife loved Donald Duck, and she was laughing at him, sort of flying around. And it just felt very good. I mean, I kind of almost nearly had a little bit of goosebumpy bit because they did such a great job of telling the story, and it just felt very good. I thought it was a lot better than last year's intro. I think it felt a bit more like you were playing it, and it was a bit funny with. I mean, to be honest, if they could do play sets like this, they would make so much money from it.
Yeah. Actually, let me interject real quick. I believe you said it reminded you and your wife about the parks.
Yeah.
And I believe this is something that Travis brought up to me before. That it reminded him of one of the attractions in Mickey's So Hard Magic.
Yes,
right?
it very much had that sort of feel where because in that one there, Donald's like running through the different movies and interacting with them all. And yeah, it did have that kind of feel to it. And Donald just, it just was very well done, and it was very much mixed up with Disney. It was also integrating them all with the characters from the first game at the end. And it was a bit odd because you sort of popped it down, and obviously we just started the game up, and then we got this whole Disney introduction. And and as much as it's fantastic, I thought, well, but if you're thinking you're a Marvel fan and you've just popped this on, you've just had a 10-minute Disney version, and you're probably going, I wanted, they came in for Spider-Man. It would have been cool to have a Marvel version.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you, like if there was a Marvel entry thing. So clearly not. It was just simply a repeat of last year with it's just strictly Disney introducing you to. Okay. It does seem odd because you just bought Marvel superheroes and then it's just Disney. But I'm just speculating here and I'm not creating rumors. But what if the Disney Originals starter pack had a Marvel entry? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it's the same. I think it's exactly the same, and I think they're maybe expecting to sell more of maybe they're gonna, the toy box starter pack is gonna appeal more, and I could see the Marvel people might be less bothered about it than maybe the Disney people. I think that seems to be.
Yeah. And honestly, to tell you the truth, it just. If anything, what this does, it gives you a hint of what's to come. You know what I mean? Because we still have stuff coming in November, so it's gonna be awesome. Okay, cool. So that was the intro. Now let's get into the playsets. And I was gonna ask you, or let's start off with the main event. What comes with the collectors, which is the Avengers. Anything that you've played so far? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think of all the playsets, I've done about 2 hours in the Avengers and about half an hour in the other two playsets. The Avengers is just really cool. The playset feels completely different from anything we've seen before. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Lego Superheroes game. Very open, you could run around, you could do bits and pieces, and it just felt really just natural and easy to use. I know there's been a few people sort of saying about the playsets of, it seems a bit repetitive where you pick up a battery or you pick up an item and you drop it on a box. But we got to remember that this isn't. It's supposed to be aimed at children. It's not full on. It's not a full on video game. These play sets.
I was gonna say it's a family game. I mean, it's not going to be your big shooters or thriller games. I mean, this is a game meant to be played by the entire family.
I think that is I think it's one of the downsides of Infinity is I think maybe the expectations of Marvel coming in was that it was going to be a lot bigger for the playsets, might be a bit bigger. But I mean, for me personally, they're a lot of fun. The Avengers playset with the amount of characters you can bring into it, there's a lot of replay value. By the time you come in the villains, and then you're going to bring in Falcon, and then you can bring those little coins. I mean, I had Rocket within half an hour, and I was running around as Rocket Raccoon in the Avengers playset. That was, things like that, which will make a lot of difference. I thought the Avengers was a really good playset, and I'm really looking forward to playing through it properly. over the next couple of weeks, because there's so much to do, and by the time you dabble in one and dabble in the other and dabble in the, time just whizzes through.
Okay. Anything that, obviously we wanna be, neutral. Anything that stood out that kind of you didn't like, or is just everything running smoothly? What do you think?
I've had a couple of crashes. I'm not going to lie. Last night I was building a toy box and it crashed out. And there's been a few other little crash outs, but that might be fixed by a patch at some point.
Is that strictly the toy box, or was it also in the playset?
It's just been in the toy box. I haven't had one in the
Okay.
in the playsets yet. But
So
that was
good.
I mean, I've had about, I think, maybe one proper crash since sort of starting it. So I'm not too sure what that was about. As far as the Avengers things that I wouldn't say anything at the minute that's kind of jumping out at me that I'm disappointed with the Avengers playset at all, to be honest.
That's good. That sounds great. That's good to hear. What about Spider-Man? Clearly, we did a poll not that long ago, and clearly, it seems to be the least favorite of the three. However, it's still a great playset. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I got into it and went to the. I actually played it again. I played the first part of it about a month ago when I was in London meeting up with one of the producers. I don't know. It's one of those weird things because I think because it is set in the same place that the Avengers playset is, it could feel a little similar because they're both just huge, great big Manhattan areas. And but on the same side, having Venom crawl up the walls and Spider-Man flipping through, it just feels good. But also, you haven't got all that Frost Giant stuff, so it kind of feels, although it's similar, there's an entirely different story going on with the symbionts coming out.
That's right.
But I can see why, if it's a bit samey, because I think in the first game, when you had the playsets, they were very, very different. And I think it's I can see why people are a little bit disappointed that there's not a lot of variety.
So then going off of your comments here, even though a lot of people, myself included, enjoy the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and they want to save that playset for the end, maybe a good suggestion would be play either Avengers or Spider-Man first, throw in the Guardians in the middle, and then you have some kind of disconnect.
I would say, do Avengers, Guardians, Spider-Man, and I think you'll be alright, because I think if you do Avengers, Spider-Man, you might find it a little bit too samey, and throw the Guardians in, kind of, because it's a bit different.
Now, let me ask you a question about the Spider-Man playset. As far as, because a lot of people aren't familiar with the cartoon television series, what do you think about these unfamiliar characters to a lot of people that aren't like diehard comic book fans, or the TV series, which are Iron Fist and Nova? Obviously, everybody knows Nick Fury and whatnot. But
well, I mean, for me, I didn't know who Iron Fist and Nova really were until they got announced, and I went back and watched a few of the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoons. I am a huge Spider-Man fan. I used to read the comics in the 80s and the 90s. I used to watch the animated TV show that was on in the 90s. That was really cool. I used to watch that every week. So I am a Spider-Man fan. So, there's a lot of stuff of it, the villains, Spider-Man, all of that, I completely get. Nova and Iron Fist and, like, Power, or was it Luke Cage and also White Tiger, I'm not familiar with them, but then at the same time, if I said to some kids now, Firestarter and Iceman from like the Spider-Man and Friends cartoons in the 80s, they wouldn't know who they are. So
correct.
It's just, for the kids right now, this is the TV show they're watching. It makes complete and utter sense. It makes sense to me that they've included the main characters from the current TV show, which is really popular. As much as I maybe didn't know them, there's probably millions of kids who are their primary audience of who they do know, and that's more important.
Have you enjoyed trying them out since you weren't too familiar with them?
I don't think I've tried Iron Fist yet. I did do a little bit of flying around with Nova, but to be honest, Venom. The minute I got Venom, that's what I wanted to do. I used to collect the Venom comics, and for me, that was who I wanted to use. I actually pretty much, once I got out of the main demo bit with Spider-Man, Venom went on, and I haven't really looked back since.
Okay, so now just kind of recapping on Spider-Man, aside from possibly feeling repetitive to Avengers, anything that you weren't too happy with? The only thing I can come to mind before you even comment, I was saying, how do you like the controls, like the web slinging and everything?
It's taken a while to kind of get used to the web slinging. But then I've actually found the same thing with flying. It took a little while to kind of get the controls right, and I'm still a little bit jiggity. Because it's practice, it's all it's going to come down to.
Yeah, you're 4 days in, you still got time to...
You know, and also because it's like with the web slinging, you know, because of all the other games, you're not necessarily playing with the same character all the time.
Right.
And instantly, I will add that, you know, we were talking before about this thing about swapping characters more and being a bit more sort of Skylanders-ish. Playing through the playsets on the Avengers, you know, I had them there, and, you know, Hawkeye died, and then you chucked in the Hulk, and also like, oh, well, I want to get around quick, so I put Iron Man on to fly to where I wanted to go, or I personally love like the Hulk super jump, whereas, you know, or you jump on a bike. There was that kind of cool thing of a little bit more jumping around between characters.
And also, definitely swapping a lot more.
Yeah, and also they've got little boxes that have got different abilities. So you will see one that it says like, and you unlock content or things like that. And so what you want to do there is you're swapping a lot more, definitely.
Okay, that's perfect. All right, and then finally, this is the one that I enjoyed the most as far as demoing goes, but what are you thinking about the Guardians of the Galaxy playset?
It is great. I love the fact that it's completely set away from the sort of the Manhattan.
The city of Manhattan, yeah.
I think Rob put out on the Facebook group is sort of, you know, you're just basically running around in a space industrial estate, which I kind of see because you're only ever in, I think once you get past the initial intro, you're only ever on this sort of big nowhere, but again, it feels so very different from the other play sets.
Right.
I think Guardian fans are going to love it. I think having these new characters, people are going to be gravitated towards. Once you get sort of Rocket Raccoon upgraded so he can have his two guns, he reminds me of Trigger Happy from Skylanders.
Oh, nice.
He's literally bang, you know, he's bang, 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 and that's how he feels. He feels like a little Trigger Happy, which is not a bad thing. If anyone from Skylanders would know, he is a great fun character, and that's what Rocket feels like.
That's great. What about, have you played with Groot?
Groot's big, and what I like about him is when he punches the ground, he kind of
his ranged attack, yeah.
So he's been pretty good. Feels a bit sluggish. He's a lot slower, which
makes sense.
Which is the thing that I've really found with this game is all the characters feel so different, which is fantastic.
Yeah. What about I know when I tried Star-Lord, his thrusting ability, it was kind of hard to adjust to. What did you try that out?
Yeah, I've kind of used it a few times. I've not fully grasped that one just yet. Again, it's some of those things because you've got to level them up to get extra.
That's right.
You can't do everything straight off the bat. Even Spider-Man, you can't even web sling till you unlock it. So it's one of those things you kind of got to play through, and that's maybe a good way of sort of upgrading because you're getting used to it as you're going along.
Anything that you didn't like from the Guardians playset?
I'm just trying to think what was. No, I think personally I was really digging it. I thought it's definitely a very strong playset and definitely worth checking out for anybody.
Excellent. Okay. I'm going to tap into something you've been bringing up with these questions. How are you feeling with these new skill trees that they've incorporated to 2.0?
The skill trees are, in my mind, a huge just boost for Disney Infinity. It's making your characters, feel different. You feel like you're sort of unlocking things as you go along. Sort of like in the first game with the Incredibles, it was the only real one you had where you sort of unlocked powers as you went along, and then in the toy box you could do everything. And it feels so much better than that, and it does take a while to get your points up, and you feel that gratification every time you can level up, which you didn't really have so much. You know, you got to level 15 before, it didn't mean anything. The character was no different. So it was a great thing. However, it does feel like it's going to take a while to get my characters up to the new level 20. So I'm going to quickly bring up the it's kind of running around at the minute, and I built one last night. It was a spark generator toy box. So if you're after sort of leveling up your characters, I say quick. It still takes a while, because if you don't, what I keep looking up here on my left is because I've actually got the spark generator going with Spider-Man leveling up. To see, it's the first time I've sort of tested it while leaving it, and so like I've gone from level 2 on Spider-Man. He's up to about level 12 now, and I've just unlocked about 20,000 sparks since we've been sort of doing this show. And that is going to be a big way of kind of speeding up the process, especially on guys like Iron Fist or Hawkeye that you maybe aren't using that well. You know, in the main playsets, you're going to be using your main favourites, and they're going to be easy to upgrade.
You know, I was thinking, Roger, it is cheating. I was going to ask you, because they have this ability now to hide, you know, the characters with these patch updates per se. Do you think this might be something they might do a patch fix and get rid of?
I think in some ways, as much as it is cheating, and we're all doing it, but I also think that when you've got this many characters, I mean, when I put all my characters out on the table, and you've got all these other ones set to come, I think it's unrealistic for some of us to literally have the amount of time to upgrade them all properly. I know that's what they want us to do, but I don't think I've actually got time to spend as somebody that works for a living to sit there and upgrade, you know, every single character up to level 20. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, when I brought over all my 1.1 characters, and I put them all onto my new game, and I've done a few of the skill trees on, like I did, like I think Mickey Mouse or the Lone Ranger, and you get like 15 points to be able to do a load of them at once. So it's not as bad as it was before, but
okay. Well, then that's a route that the you know, the leisure player can use, obviously. Yeah. That's okay.
It still takes a long time. I mean, I think by the time the Spider-Man gets up to level, it's going to need to be in my spark generator for a few hours. So it is not a quick fix.
So it's definitely not. Okay.
But like I said, it's a good idea just to, I think, you know, for characters that you maybe aren't too bothered about. I think when you go through the play set and you go through the toy boxes and all the rest of it, you're going to be building them up anyway. But I wouldn't really. It's just more of a case of putting it on while you're not doing anything else.
Okay, quick change of subject here, and it's still tapping back into, well, not even just the collector's edition, but all the figures in general.
Yeah.
There was a recent scare by, I believe, an article that was brought up about bad paint jobs. What's your opinion? Are you
to be honest, yeah, I haven't really looked that closely, to be honest. I don't really, I'm not that kind of person. All my toys are just chucked in a huge box.
I gotcha.
They're a $10, you know, they're a £10 toy that I put in a box. I'm not that kind of person where if the paint's bled a bit on the leg, it doesn't really matter. I was just happy I wanted to get the figures. I wasn't, you know, I didn't really have the thing of going through and pulling them all apart to pull out to see if, you know, Spider-Man's eye was smudged. I mean.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just looking here on this Iron Man that's in front of me. No, there's nothing there that particularly. I mean, I think if you're going into that much detail, I mean, if you're really into that,
like die-hard collectors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the mass public are really gonna. You got something that's being mass generated. I don't think it's realistic to expect them all to be. And again, you're only paying, you know, what, $15. You're not buying a $200 figure.
No, that's correct. I'm just saying, like, as far as, you know, does it look like it was well done? Are they sloppy?
To me, they look a lot better than the first figures.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to get from you as far
they're
as,
a lot
you know,
more,
solid people.
Yeah, they're a lot brighter. They just look a lot more. In general, the colours maybe it's just the fact Marvel characters are quite colour orientated.
Well, I was going to say, from the figures that I have, like, I've noticed more detail not only in the paint itself, because, you know, they have little, like, like the Shield logo or the scar on Nick Fury's eye behind his patch. But aside from that, I even noticed that the sculpting is more detailed. Like Spider-Man doesn't have the web painted on. They're actually little molds in them. So it's I just I wanted to see that because obviously that article that came out generated a lot of.
I mean, there's been a few little articles popping up on different places that have been a little bit sort of. There's been a lot of quite a bit of negativity coming out about the game, and obviously we're fans of the game, so we're maybe we're biased too much the other way where we love it anyway. I do feel that maybe some of the sort of big game reviewers maybe don't fully get what Disney Infinity is. That if they're literally sitting down, if you're a hardcore gamer, you plop down the playsets, you plow through them, you poke about a bit in the toy box, and go, well, I can see how if you're a die-hard gamer, this could seem a bit wishy-washy.
It just really depends on the type of die-hard gamer you are. You know what I mean? It's for the acquired taste of the gamer. So.
Well, I think it's more more of a casual gamer than I think. I mean, obviously the hardcore gamers can come in and they can build toy boxes, etc. But I think the playsets, I think there's a lot of expectation on them being these huge $50 games. The way I look at it is, if you've got a playset piece, they're about $35. Oh, the playset pack is $35. So you take two figures that are $15 a piece. That means that playset you're probably paying $5 to $6 for. So if you put the value on that as like a $5-6 video game, you're getting really good value for money.
That's true.
And that's if you look at it like that, right? Yeah, you take the figures. Would you buy a Spider-Man figure on its own for $15? Well, I would have done that anyway. So I mean, I think people go, well, I've spent $200, spent all this money on all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And well, I maybe look at the figures like, well, I'd spend $10, $12 on a Vinymation, which doesn't do anything. So I'm maybe more used to just buying figures regardless of, and to me it feels like there's a lot more content. But I think a lot of the bad reviewers, sometimes maybe not necessarily, I think if you enjoyed the first game, especially if you loved the toy box and loved it, you're going to love the new game. And I'd recommend anyone that loved or played the first game, get Disney Infinity, be it the toy box pack or the digital version. If you're not into Marvel, then just wait a little bit and get the digital version. You won't be disappointed with the toy box.
Yeah, the toy box is phenomenal. It definitely is.
The only thing is with the toy box, and I can see a problem coming out when this toy box starter pack comes out, that if you don't have any play sets and you go into that toy box, there's things you can go into and you can play a race and you can play a few games straight away, and you've obviously got those toy box game discs. But without actually being able to play a play set, it's going to be really hard to get enough points to buy the toys, and there's so much stuff. I think there's going to be a little bit of a problem when this comes
disadvantage?
out. Yeah, I think there's going to be. I think if you pop it down, I think there's going to be this kind of thing. Well, what do I do? Okay, I can build toy boxes. If they're not familiar with downloading all the toy boxes, that's the good thing. You can go in and download hundreds of toy boxes to go in and play. But if you don't know about them, it doesn't feel very. I can see a problem coming in with this without having the Disney playsets.
All right. Actually, let's go ahead and dig deeper on the toy boxes. But before I ask you more about that, I kind of want to throw in a little public service announcement here, because I've been hearing the same question pop up over and over again, and I've been hearing people saying that they're going to do this, but a lot of people are saying that they're going to buy the Marvel starter kit, and then they're going to buy the Disney Original starter pack, because there's a misconception that they're different games. So let's just clarify here. The game disc inside the Marvel starter pack and the game disc inside the Disney Originals toy box starter pack
and
are
the digital.
Same. Yeah, and the digital, correct. The digital download. They're all the same exact game, completely the same. For example, if, let's say, you're not a Marvel fan and you wanted to go ahead and just do the Toy Box Originals Starter Pack download or the physical one, and somebody keeps telling you, man, I love Rocky Raccoon, I love Groot, they're amazing, their playset is phenomenal, you gotta play it. You decide, okay, I'm getting a cave and get it. That's definitely going to work on the Disney Originals game disc, and vice versa. Marvel has the toy box in there, and you can play your old or new Disney figures in there. So it's the same exact game inside it. Just keep that in mind. The only difference are play sets.
I think the splitting up of the brand, I still don't think it's been a great idea. I see why they're doing it, and I understand why, and obviously as, you know, an adult that can understand what they're doing makes sense. But I still think it's too complicated. I don't think they should have done it.
There's a bit of a confusion, yeah.
I think personally, like next year, you know, bring out a starter pack, and have some Star Wars characters, have some Marvel, have some Disney. I don't think they should. I know we all jump onto this thing that next year's theme is going to be Star Wars. I kind of hope that we get a Star Wars pack or two. I don't think they should do the same as what they've done with Marvel this year. I think they should spread it out a bit more.
Well, now we're throwing out our opinion on this. You know what my opinion would be, and it's pretty similar to what you're saying, but the same way we got Disney Infinity, the very first one where you had 3 characters from 3 different franchises, which were, you know, Mr. Incredible, Sully, and Captain Jack Sparrow. Well, you can do the same exact thing. You can put one Marvel figure in there. We can put a Disney figure in there. You can put a Star Wars figure in there. And then it just lets everybody buy one starter pack. Everybody can have access to everything without any confusion. If you don't like, let's say, Star Wars, you don't have to buy any Star Wars play sets, but you can definitely use that figure in your toy box. You know.
I think they're going to be watching the sales data and doing a lot of research in the next 2 months with this game and the other one coming out to see what works and what isn't. They're going to be going off feedback. If they feel it's costing them money in lack of sales or confusion, they ain't going to make the same mistake again.
Exactly. And then speaking of going off of feedback, for all you unhappy Disney fans who want Disney playsets, speak your voice. Don't be rude, but just say, "Hey, Disney, we want Disney playsets."
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that I'm going to quickly bring up here is these Toy Box game discs, which we've got 2 in the Marvel one, which are Assault on Asgard and Escape to the Kylin, and there's going to be 2 on the Disney side, Stitches and Brave, and they're both going to be available separately. So I'll add that out there. Right. Both of those games I've played through are really, really good, and I think they're a little bit people are sort of underestimating them. They're kind of being thrown away as a kind of, people don't seem to be talking about them so much. I put up some gameplay footage yesterday. These are really good, and they're a great way of sort of bringing a game in. They feel completely different from the playsets. They are essentially a large toy box, but they've been created with a lot more bits and pieces, and they've got cutscenes, etc. JV there was a bit of a conversation going on Twitter with a few of us with JV, and he's saying about this being the future. You know, they're planning on doing a lot more of this in future games. Not for this for the 2.40. There's only going to be 4 of them. I think this is what we're going to see more of. I'm going to think we're going to have so many more of these in the future, because I think they're very, very good, and it's almost a bit of a test run this time round.
Okay. Well, I mean, I do agree with you. I think those toy box discs are going to be a little bit of a hit. You know, people are underestimating them a lot.
They are. They're 2 to 4 hours sort of minimum. I mean, 2 hours is if you really blast through it, but then you can play through it with other ones. And I think that is they're being lost in the shuffle. I think there's so much discussion about the play sets that they've been sort of lost, and I think it's a shame, because I think they are very good. We might see it more when the Disney side come out, and that's the 2 main things people can play. But I do think that they are 2 things that they're something that we're going to see a lot more in the future, but maybe everyone's obsessed with the play sets a little bit too much at the minute.
I see. Okay. Well, dive into your experience with those, by the way, since we haven't talked about the toy box much.
Yeah, I mean, sort of those toy box game discs, you pop them down, and sort of the Assault on Asgard, you've got to basically put down weapons, and you've got to defend a sort of a tower from onslaught of frost giants, and I think there's going to be 10 levels. I've only played 2 of them, and that was, it was an hour gone before just by doing that. By the time I set it up and got used to it, and they all come running in, and you set the guns, and every time you finish that zone, they upgrade so you get more guns. And to each level, I say level, but there must be about 10 stages within each level, so there's loads to do. And it was just a lot of fun, and it generally got better. And then the Assault on Asgard, also the other one, the Escape from the Island, feels completely different. It's like a 3D sort of platformer from a certain angle coming down, and you're running through and you're fighting, and it feels very different from the play sets. And you've got these little sidekicks that run up, the little townspeople helping you out, and it's a lot more of a fighting game, and you've just got to collect items to unlock to go into the next zone, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, they're a good game, and I think with these, I think the 2 ones that we're going to see in the Disney are basically a similar game, but just themed differently.
Okay, perfect. And finally, the overall toy box. What are your thoughts on obviously the vast improvement?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you get into the toy box and I'll admit, you actually stand there and you go through all the toys that you've got no money to buy anything with, because you need to build up your sparks to buy them. And at first you think, well, there's not a huge amount here, because so many of the, I think, again, a slight missing of those templates that we got shown of where you can build games automatically. You need to go. What I don't realise with the toy store is it's a bit like the skill tree. You have to buy, if you want to have like this toy up here, which is the builder, you've got to buy them going up the line to get to it. I mean, I thought you could just buy anything you wanted, but you've kind of got to buy the toys you need to get to that builder. And so you have to, so that was a slight disappointment, but once you got sparks by going in the play set and playing in toy boxes, etc., and going through you then could go in and buy all the creator toys or all the templates, and there are so many toys to go and buy. There's absolute bucket loads. And if you go in and place all your old play sets in, it unlocks all of those toys. When you bring in the figures and pop them down, it unlocks all the toys for the figures. I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of toys in there to use.
Well, I'm excited to give them a shot myself.
And also, I mean, I used the creator toys to build this spark. I mean, I will admit, I didn't really build a lot of toy boxes in the first game. I found it too complicated. I went to build a racetrack on one of the challenges one week. I'm like 2 hours into it, and I just got this mess of a track. And I like the fact I can just press a button and it builds a track, and I could race on it within 30 seconds.
So it's basically helpful for those who weren't really into building toy boxes.
And there's a lot of, I think what we're going to start seeing, and I think it's going to take maybe a few weeks to get people going, but once some of the toy box artists get into building some of these toy boxes, with we are going to see some very different content, and they are going to be like having playsets. And I think we've been saying this a lot. I think by the time the Disney Starter Pack comes out, there's going to be a lot of decent stuff to download. Maybe at the minute, we've only got the ones that Disney created, and only a few of the Toy Box Summit ones are not all there.
Well, keep in mind, too, I know you said a few weeks, but keep in mind that, they do have 5 employed toy box artists now that have been building them for a while, not to mention the Summit winner, Mighty Jidus, has been working on, apparently, an impressive Avengers one, so we'll see how that goes as well. Yeah,
I mean, I think this is the side of the Disney Infinity that is a bit more for me, it's where the excitement comes from, because we've now got basically a whole year ahead of us with new toy boxes being built, and they're just going to continue to get better and better, and they are going to be like games. They're going to be like those toy box game discs. And so on day one, when you put it down, everyone's focused on those playsets. Everyone wants to get in and play them. In a month, 2 months' time, no one's really going to be looking at those playsets anymore. They're all going to be about the toy box. Same thing happened last year, and I think it's going to be even bigger this year.
As far as, I think, are you referring to being able to share to friends as well?
Yeah, that's even a different side thing again. I mean, now we're just talking about the top 5 toy boxes, but once we can start, now we can share. Like I've put my spark generator up onto the cloud. So if we're like Abe is friends with me on the Disney side of things, you can do that at disney.com/infinity. Sign up there, and it's all linked up. You know, I've now got about 15, 20 friends on there, and it doesn't really mean anything. You just basically put your username in, you accept a friend request, and all you can do is share stuff together. There's not really any interaction, but it's not console to console. So, for example, somebody on the Wii U can make a toy box, and both of us on the PS4 could download it if we were friends with them. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this, and I think there's going to be a lot more people. Because if you made a really cool toy box and it didn't get featured, you know, you might put out there on on our group and go, well, I made this cool toy box. If anyone wants, and we could all be downloading it. And I think we're going to start seeing that a lot more.
That's awesome. Well, I think we've definitely talked a lot. Obviously, we know we have a few days for the U.S. release, and if you can just give me your overall thoughts on the game in general.
Personally, for me, I am really, really happy with the game. I think it's really well done. I'm impressed with the playsets. I think the toy box has been given a massive overall, and I think generally, going forward, I'm really excited about what's going to be coming every week and what people can create. And I think the toy box is the big thing that we all need to be keeping an eye on. Because, like I said, I think those playsets, within a few weeks, people won't be really as worried about them as they maybe are at this precise minute.
Okay.
And hopefully...
go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, well, there's not going to be a show next week because we basically decided that there's going to be so many people playing the game, and we'll let sort of Abe play it as well, that we're going to skip it next week, so there'll be an episode in 2 weeks, and then Abe will have had the game, and I'll have had it a little bit longer as well, and the plan for the next sort of few weeks is basically we're just going to try and break down and spend a little bit longer in each of the play sets and the toy box, and kind of spend a bit longer on each subject, because we've got I think maybe 4 or 5 weeks after that before the Disney stuff all comes out.
I was also going to throw in, obviously Roger already does live Twitch, videos where you can watch live. I'll be getting close to setting that up myself, and that way we can have people in the States also chime in and ask questions, ask me to do stuff too, or, if they're not playing the game at all. But that's later on. Yeah,
we'll be worrying about that later. But I think what we need to do now is we need for Abe to announce the winner of the contest.
That's correct. But before I do, I did want to address one thing. I believe you brought up one of the viewers had a question about the cases that are behind me for the figures. They're just simple baseball bat display cases. You just remove the insert that holds the baseball bat, and then they fit perfect for any a little bit higher than 3-inch figures. So Vinylmations work, pop vinyls work if they're out of box. And so anyways, I wanted to throw that in. But anyways, so for our winner, basically I went through, made sure everybody commented. Everybody said exactly what they needed to say as far as what their favorite things were, which a lot of great things were said, and I'm excited that a lot of parents out there are happy to see their kids play with this as well. But random number generator came up with the comment that was number 7, and that ended up being, hold on, I wrote it down here. That was, Elizabeth Monroe. Congratulations.
Well done, Elizabeth.
Won this guy. So you can private message me a little bit later, or I'll contact you, and we'll get that out to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Congratulations, Elizabeth. I must admit I'm jealous because that green one does look rather cool. I've only got the blue one over here.
And not in the UK.
Yeah, not in the UK. No. I'm gonna have to, no. Well, we didn't get all the coloured ones last year, so. But anyway, Just a reminder, there is a competition running on the YouTube channel, which is for a $25 gift certificate or gift voucher online for DisneyStore.com, so you can spend it on Vinymation, but also you can buy Disney Infinity figures. And you might want to, I had a look, and you could probably even then pre-order one of the new Disney characters. So remember, you've got about another 10-15 days left on that one, so you can just need to subscribe and comment on that one. So we're going to try and keep raising up the people watching this thing. And I think we're pretty much, I was going to go through the say about the toy box is this week, but we've ran out of time, and honestly I didn't actually play them this week. I didn't, for some reason I was a little bit busy.
Know, I don't think you have a valid excuse.
No reason at all. No, not like I've been busy at all over the last few days.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so what I think we're going to leave it there, and I'd just like to say thanks to Abe for joining the show and being the co-host. So, and we will be back in 2 weeks with another webcast. Hope you all enjoyed it, and remember, you comment below with what you've been finding out with Disney Infinity 2.0 and what you're looking forward to, and all the rest of it. And join our Infinity and Beyond Facebook group. We've got thousands of members in there now. And I think once people start buying and trading and selling those power discs, it's about to go through the roof in there. And also, you can discuss if you're having a problem. People will be answering it, so it's really worth doing if you're into Disney Infinity.
Absolutely.
And finally, remember to subscribe to the channel and check out VinomationKingdom.com. Thank you very much for watching, guys.
USA, one more day. Ah.